Andrew, I don't think he or she did any interview preparation for our meeting. These are the words that I very rarely hear, but when I do, my heart sinks. It's just so unprofessional not to prepare for an interview. You're taking the time to meet with somebody or engage them on a video call, and you've not done any homework in advance. You're just not giving yourself any sort of chance to get the job. So here are my tips for how to successfully prepare for an interview that you really want to make a positive impression at. So we all know the basics. Go on the company website, understand how they present themselves, find out a bit of where the organisation sits in their market sector, know a bit about their competition, obvious stuff. Similarly, go on GlassDoor, what are the positives, what are the negatives, take them with a pinch of salt, but be aware of them. It may be useful in part of the conversation, or if you want to formulate some questions you want to ask. And also look into the background of the person who's interviewing you or the people that are interviewing you. It's good to know that, to see what their history is, and also spot any opportunities for rapport building about shared contacts, similar experiences, anything that will help you break the ice in the conversation, but also just be aware of how you want to position yourself to that individual given their background. So that's all really basic stuff. But what else can you do? Well, we don't know what questions we're going to get asked in the interview, but we should know what information we want to share with the person we're meeting with. Now, they fall into three broad areas, in my opinion. You've got your actual experience, you've got your sort of career ambitions, which of course are important if you're considering a job move, and you've got your sort of business values or ethics, how you operate as an individual. I think they're all important things. So you need to mentally rehearse what you want to say about those areas, because you should get questions that cover those topics. And here's the really important thing. It's so much more powerful when you can back up what you want to say about yourself with evidence or examples. So we can all say, I'm really good at relationship building. Have you got a really strong example which proves that? So you need to think about the sorts of examples you want to give, the projects, the challenges, whatever it is you've worked on that you think are going to come up in the conversation, and have good examples that evidence what you're good at the forefront of your mind, because it's always so much more powerful when it rolls off the tongue. So think about where you've overcome challenging circumstances to be successful, where you've dealt with difficult relationships in the workplace. Also think about where you've failed or not been successful, whatever you want to describe it. You might want to think, oh, I don't want to tell somebody I made a bad job of that. But actually, we often learn more from the things that don't go well. So if you can demonstrate you've learned from poor experiences, you're sending a strong message that you've got the humility to accept you don't know everything, that you know what you don't know, that you know what your own development areas are, and you can show that you've learned from experience in the past. And I personally think that's a very powerful thing to be able to share with an interviewer during a selection process. So the final point I'd make to you is about the importance of questions. Now, imagine this. You're up against two or three other people in a selection process. You've all got broadly similar backgrounds and experience. How does the interviewer choose the person they want to hire? Well, one way you might differentiate yourself is with the quality of your questions. Good questions that really make the interviewer think can be very, very powerful. So I would mentally prepare 4 or 5 questions that you think you may want to ask during the conversation that not only give you the information you want, also give you a little bit of an insight into the person who's interviewing you, because you're probably going to work for that person. You want to see how they respond to the questioning, how they operate under the spotlight, how they articulate themselves. It can be very informative for you. And it's also, as I say, a very good way of differentiating yourself. If you've got 5 questions, the chances are that some of them will come up in the conversation anyway. But if you just ask 1 or 2 at the end, it leaves the interviewer thinking about how you articulate yourself, what's important to you, and can be very, very powerful. And ultimately, if that doesn't go well, then you're probably not the right person for the job and you move on to the next one. But I hope that helps you prepare. It's a good way to be successful. Nice and simple, but and some may say obvious, but I've found that that's been very helpful to all the people that I've helped prepare for interviews over my career. So good luck with it. And if you're not speaking to us already about your career in procurement, supply chain technology, or what are you waiting for, please do get in touch. We'd love to help you. Thank you.